came in a starter's role, as it is tonight, replacing Kevin Brown. Tomorrow, Andy Ashby, and he'll go up against Brian Anderson. But tonight is the night as the Dodgers try to do what they did in Arizona, get out in front against one of the great pitchers of all time, a four-time Cy Young Award winner, Randy Johnson. We'll get to the starting lineup right after this. Friday night in Los Angeles, and the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, after playing 3 games last weekend in Arizona, the scene shifts to Dodger Stadium, and the exchange of lineup cards taken on at home plate as the Dodgers getting ready, trying to cut into a 2-game Arizona lead. Arizona bouncing back thanks to Luis Gonzalez's home run yesterday and beating the Giants 1-0 behind Rick Helling. Let's take a look at that D-back lineup that's won 2 out of 3 at home against the Dodgers. Craig Counsell opens up at third base. Junior Spivey will be at second base. Luis Gonzalez in left field batting third. Greg Colburn will be at first base since the Dodgers are pitching a left-hander. Then you have Jose Guillen in right field. Steve Finley is in center. Damian Miller will be behind the plate. Tony Womack the shortstop. And on the mound, Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson coming in with a record of 8-1. Bob Brenly, meanwhile, piloting his ball club to a 2-game lead. Met the challenge in Arizona when the Dodgers were there, and then met the challenge by going up to San Francisco and holding their own. They are 15-11 on the road. They are a better ball club at home. They're 18-9 in Arizona, and they're starting a stretch of 13 of 16 on the road. Let's take a look at the Dodger lineup now. 2 games back of Arizona. It'll be Cesar Izturis at shortstop, Adrian Beltre up in the number 2 slot at third base, and Sean Green in right field. It is Paul LaDuca bobblehead night tonight, and Paulie's hitting in the cleanup spot. Eric Karros at first base. Brian Jordan will be in left field. Marquise Grissom, who had 2 home runs against Johnson last weekend, will be in center field. Mark Grassolonic, who's been out since the Arizona series when he fouled a ball off his foot, returns to the starting lineup at second base, and Omar Dahl will be on the mound. So it's the Dodgers in Arizona. The crowd's still filing in. Should be a great weekend, and we'll be back for the D-backs and the Dodgers right after this. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Friday night to you, old and young, especially a little boy, a baby wearing a bib here in the ballpark, also wearing a Dodger cap, and on the bib it says, "Daddy says I'm a sport." Well, sport is in capital letters here in Los Angeles as a big crowd comes in, a sellout crowd for Paul LaDuca bobblehead night, and more importantly, a batter of 2 clubs going for first place, Arizona with Randy Johnson, and the Dodgers with Omar Dahl. For Omar Dahl, the 30-year-old left-hander, pitched for Arizona in 98, 99, and 2000. Over that stretch, he won 26 games and lost 31. His record 4-0 with the Dodgers this year, and 2 of those victories as a starter. He went 6 1/3 against San Diego, and he went 6 in Pittsburgh. So now, in replacing Kevin Brown in a big rotation, he's matched up with a premier left-hander, Randy Johnson. For the Arizona D-backs, as they come up, there's a lot of reasons why Bob Brenly has his club in first place. They are number 1 in fielding percentage. They are number 1 in fewest stolen bases allowed, and they are number 1 in unearned runs. They've only given up 8. So they have a remarkable defensive club to support such great pitchers as Curt Schilling. And of course, Schilling is one of those fellows who is 17-2 following a defeat of Arizona, so they don't go into a tailspin. Craig Counsell, the batter, takes a big hook for a strike, and the count 0-1. Craig had a big 5-for-5 game against the Dodgers Sunday. He looks at a pitch low, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Counsell went 5-for-5, and then, so typical of anyone playing baseball, he turned right around and went 0-for-7. then took some extra batting practice and had a 3-hit game against the Giants. He takes a curveball low, and the count 2-1. So Craig Counsell, formerly with the Dodgers, maybe not the big one to get away, but certainly he was a medium size that got away. Hits a little dribbler back towards Dahl, who picks it up and throws him out. So Counsell back to Dahl, 1 up and 1 away, and the batter will be Junior Spivey. Junior Spivey out of Oklahoma. His name is Ernest Lee Spivey, and down in Atlanta, he was so little known that the public address announcer introduced him to the crowd. Now batting, second baseman Junior Spivey Jr. Well, not really, but he is anything but junior in this league, hitting .324, half a dozen home runs, 35 runs batted in. Dahl's first pitch sinks low, ball 1, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. With Jay Bell banged up, with Matt Williams out, Spivey emerged to really save the situation, and he rips one foul outside of third that almost took a little of Eddie Rodriguez with it, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Tell you one thing, the Diamondbacks have a left-hander killer in Junior Spivey. He is the #1 hitter in the league against left-handers, batting .463. He takes one down and away off speed, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Spivey not only hitting .463, his on-base percentage is .559 against left-handers, and he promptly adds to that with a bullet into left field. So Spivey continues to wear out all the left-handers in the league, and the batter now will be Luis Gonzalez. Luis Gonzalez winning the ball game yesterday for Arizona, and there's certainly nothing new in that. He has been doing that ever since he came over to Arizona. 11 home runs, 34 runs batted in. Hit one into the drink yesterday, into McCovey Cove. So one of the few players to reach the water, visiting player. Barry Bonds has hit the water 18 times, believe it or not. And the pitch in for a strike, and the count 0-1. 3 players have hit at least 2 home runs into McCovey Cove. Felipe Crespo, Gonzo as they call him, and Barry Bonds. So 0-1 the count to Luis. Dahl out of his stretch. A look at Spivey. Now the left-hander, big kick and a fastball fouled off, and the count 0-1. As far as Dahl and Gonzalez are concerned, Gonzo has 2 home runs against him and a .385 batting average. So 0-2 now the count to Luis Gonzalez. Greg Colburn on deck. The Diamondbacks winning 2 out of 3 in Arizona. The Dodgers feeling they should have won at least 2 out of 3, letting a 4-0 lead turn it around to look like they were going to beat Randy Johnson, only to let it get away. Sidearm fastball on the outside corner, strike 3 called. So Luis Gonzalez frozen on that pitch as it picked up the corner at the knees by dropping his arm and coming by way of first base. So 2 down in the first inning, and the first baseman Greg Colburn coming up. If left-handers are going to slow down Craig Counsell because he bats left-handed, Bob Brenly was thinking about someday using Greg Colburn at third base, and he worked out a little bit tonight before the game, and he might very well make his first start of the season at that position any time now. So Colburn waiting, Dahl delivers, and it's in there for a strike, and the count 0-1. If you joined us a little late, Spivey single to left with 1 out. Gonzalez strikes out, and here is Colburn, 0-1. Greg, a local boy from Fontana. Dahl at the belt, looks at first, back he comes, and he works it down and away, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. So Omar Dahl, who from the opening day in spring training said he wanted to be a starting pitcher, well, he has gotten his wish tonight. The 1-1 pitch coming up to Greg Colburn is instead a throw to first. Spivey back on the bag. Junior is a very good base stealer, so everything he does is par excellence. 'Excellence. He has stolen 6 out of 7. 2-0 1-1 to count. Colburn waiting. Out of a stretch goes Omar Dahl. The 4-0 record on the line, and the pitch is swung on and missed, and the count 1-2. So Greg Colburn has a look down to Eddie Rodriguez. Now Greg back in. He lives in South Carolina. Turned down a baseball scholarship to Stanford. The 1-2 pitch is foul back. So it's still 1-2 to count to Greg Colburn, who was born in Fontana. So Colburn at the plate, 2 down, first inning, no score. Junior Spivey with a base hit at first base. And Robin Yount over to instruct him as he takes his lead. Bob Brenly, of course, will be the National League manager in the All-Star game. Robin Yount will be the American League. There's a line drive into right field, base hit. Over to play it on a hop is Green. Spivey with 2 out is on his way to third unmolested, and so the Diamondbacks are in business. Greg Colburn, a line drive single to right, and that puts runners at first and third with 2 out. And Jose Guillen coming up. Jose Guillen figured to be a backup outfielder, backup for Danny Bautista. And Danny Bautista was off to a tremendous start, hitting .325. He had 6 home runs and 23 RBIs. However, diving at a ball, he wrecked his shoulder, and Danny's going to be out for the rest of the year. And that was also a blow to Guillen because they're old pals from the Dominican Republic. And the first pitch is low and inside, ball 1. David DeLucci figures to play some outfield, but David is a left-handed batter. They were thinking about Uribe Durazo, but there's no way he could play the outfield. When he tried to do it in spring training, 1 throw from the outfield, and Durazo's elbow became inflamed. So Guillen has a chance to play a lot, fouls a pitch back, and the count 1-1. Guillen has a home run against Dahl. Mark Grace, the veteran first baseman, volunteered to play right field. He hadn't played right field since Class A ball, and Bob Brenly thanks so much, but no thanks. 1-1 to count to Jose Guillen. We're just starting. The crowd still filing in. Sellout crowd tonight as Omar out of a stretch checks the runners, and the 1-1 pitch swung on and hit in the air to shallow center. Here comes Grissom. It's going to drop in front of him. So the run scores on a fly ball single. Spivey brings it in, and just like that, the D-backs take a 1-0 lead. So Jose Guillen, little fly ball into center. Base hit, run batted in. Dahl now has given up 3 hits in the run, and in a moment the batter will be Steve Finley. So Finley coming up with runners at the corners. The Dodgers certainly do not want to try their luck again. Remember, in Arizona, Randy Johnson had a 4-0 lead. That was a pretty big hill to climb. They did it, but they certainly don't want to have to try that again. So here is Finley, and a fastball up and outside, ball 1, 1-0. Finley, usually in the course of a season, pretty much of a streak hitter. He has not had his familiar streak yet, and he's batting only .242. The next one to Steve is low and inside, ball 2, 2-0. Finley, a solid ball player, plagued on and off with a bad back, but he reports he's in excellent condition now. 2 balls and no strikes. The count to Steve Finley. Dahl comes back, breaking ball, and that's pop foul. Karras says he'll take care of it. Eric is under it and makes the catch for the out. So Finley fouls out, but not before the D-backs put together 3 hits and a run. And so, down 1-0 in the first inning, the Dodgers will be taking a look at Randy Jackson and vice versa. Arizona picks up a run on 3 hits in the first inning, and now the Dodgers coming up against the tower from Arizona by the name of Randy Johnson. Johnson has never been any bigger than he is right now, and we're not talking about the fact that he is 6 feet 10. He is 8-1. He has beaten the Dodgers twice last year. He is 4-2 lifetime, but he's won all 4 here at Dodger Stadium. He has won 17 of his last 19 decisions. He has beaten the Dodgers 4 straight, and if that wasn't bad enough, in the last 34 decisions or starts, his record would be 25-3. Here's the Dodger lineup that will face him. Cesar Izturis will start it off, then Adrian Beltre and Sean Green. Whenever Randy Johnson goes to the mound, his name is always linked with Sandy Koufax, and it's interesting to match up their careers, and we'll try and do it without getting in the way of pitchers. For instance, in 181 games, Sandy won 111 and Randy 104. Sandy's ERA 1.9, Johnson 2.6. This is over a 5-year deal. Strikeouts, Randy has struck out almost 400 more, and they each won 3 Cy Youngs in the National League. The pitch to Adrian Beltre is in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Since 1995, Randy Johnson's winning percentage is .760. The pitch is on the outside corner, strike 2. Well, over the same 5-year stretch when he pitched, Sandy Koufax, his percentage was .766. So you can understand why their names are always linked. 0-2 the count. Johnson ready, and his fastball is low, ball 1. And I'll tell you what, maybe it's the time of night. He has made 3 pitches, and he looks far better than the Randy Johnson we saw last week in Arizona. And if he has that biting slider, it will be quite a battle. Marquise Grissom getting ready to face him, had 2 home runs, of course, against him in that game. The 1-2 pitch way outside to the backstop, and the count 2-2. Another thing about Randy Johnson, he's right up there as far as walks compared to 300 strikeouts. Maybe the best ever was 3 years ago. Pedro Martinez struck out 313 and walked only 37. I mean, that's really amazing. 2-2 pitch on the way. As a fastball hit by the mound, charging Spivey, picks it up and throws just in time. Very close play at first base. Nice play by Junior Spivey, and Izturis grounds out, 1 away. Spivey made several of those plays in Arizona. A little off-balance throw across his body, one leg extended, both feet up in the air, and he just got Izturis on a bang-bang play. Now the batter is Adrian Beltre. The Dodgers have the best record in the league against left-handers, left-handed starters. The pitch to Beltre, that's a strike, 0-1. The Dodgers are 10-2 against left-hand starters, but they're going up a gang of a left-hander tonight. 0-1 the count to Adrian Beltre. Randy ready and comes back with a fastball foul back, and the count 0-2. Randy's best years, strikeouts and walks. 3 years ago, he struck out 364 and walked only 70. And last year, he struck out 372 and walked only 71. The strike 2 pitch to Beltre, fastball low and in, ball 1. And I mean, he was throwing smoke there in the count 1-2. That was clocked at 94. Right now, Randy Johnson has 100 strikeouts and 22 walks. So the big guy at 6'10" looks down the barrel to get a sign. Now Randy ready, and the 1-2 pitch on the way. Fastball up and outside, and the count 2-2. Beltre with Sean Green on deck. 2-2 the count. 1 out, first inning, 1-0 Arizona. The 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed. That'll do it for Beltre as he flips the bat in the air like a baton. 2 down. And the batter will be Sean Green. So as we said, Randy Johnson already looks a heck of a lot better than he did in facing the Dodgers in Arizona. And now Sean Green. Sean Green going head-to-head with Randy Johnson, hitting .259. He is 7-for-27. As you know, he has 13 home runs, 39 runs batted in, fouls the first one off, and the count 0-1. They are still doing research on Sean Green's 4 home runs. For instance, they said he's only the second 4 home run hitter to do it with 2 out in the 9th inning when he hit his 4th. The other was Bob Horner back in 1986. Another thing he did that was tough when he had the 4 home runs, he did not hit a home run in his first at bat. He takes low and the count 1-1. Only 3 other fellas who hit 4 home runs failed to hit one in their first at bat. Mike Schmidt didn't do it. In fact, he didn't do it till his 3rd at bat. Pat Siri and Rocky Colavito. 1-1 pitch on the way. Fastball pulled sharply, but gobbling it up nicely as Colburn goes to the bag and takes a double away from Shawn Green. So the Dodgers go out 1-2-3. And at the end of an inning on a nice play by Greg Colburn, Arizona won and the Dodgers nothing. Good play by Greg Colburn to take a double away as he hits Matt Williams on the head with his hat. Meanwhile, at the plate, Damian Miller takes a strike and the count 0-1. Damian Miller was a little banged up, but he's back in the lineup. He takes low. He had a couple of doubles last Friday and looked like he was emerging from a slump, and he has his average now up to 287. He takes a pitch inside and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Damian Miller, one of the big reasons why base runners are not stealing bases. A shot to the hole by the diving Izturis, and it's a base hit for Damian Miller. So Omar Dahl, who has been in and out mostly in relief with 2 starts, has now given up 4 hits in 1 inning plus, which is a wobbly start, and Tony Womack will be checking in. So Dahl giving up the base hit, and Womack hitting .259 with a home run and 19 runs batted in, checks in. The left-hand hitting shortstop at the plate. Miller off the bag at first. Dahl looks and bends a curveball that's lifted to left field. Brian Jordan is right there, makes the catch, and holding at first is Miller. So 1 away. Don't forget, individual tickets are on sale at Dodger Stadium, and you can pick them up at the Dodger box office Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. Give us a call or check the Dodger website. You know the number, I'm sure, 323-2241-HIT. Big crowd, sellout crowd tonight with Paul LaDuca bobblehead night. And don't forget, Thursday night, July the 18th, that will be Shawn Green bobblehead night. The Dodgers and the Padres at 7:10. So the batter now is Randy Johnson. We'll see if Johnson bunts. He shows bunt, drops it in fair ground, picked up by LaDuca, and flips to first. So Johnson, helping himself, comes up with his second sacrifice, moves Miller along, and with 2 out, they'll leave it up to Craig Counsell.
Baseman number 4, Craig Counsell.
So Randy Johnson back into the dugout, and Craig Counsell, who hit back to the box in the first inning, coming up. 2 down, second inning. D-backs 1, Dodgers nothing. Singles by Spivey, Colburn, and Guillen got the D-backs a run in the first inning. The pitch low and inside to Counsell. Ball 1, 1-0. Counsell hitting leadoff for over 2 weeks now, ever since they dropped Womack to the number 8 slot. Dahl a side armor, but that missed outside, and he's in a hole now. 2 balls and no strikes. And Counsell in the leadoff role has done well. Craig had a great fall, the postseason play for sure. Now the 2-0 pitch on the way, and that drops low, ball 3. And on deck, remember, is that the left-handed killer, and that would be Junior Spivey. So the toughest hitter in the league against left-hand pitching is on deck. Meanwhile, Dahl is behind 3-0 to Craig Counsell. Omar delivers a strike, and the count 3-1. Two down, top of the second, 1-0 Arizona. And Damian Miller at second base looking for a ride home. The 3-1 pitch coming on, and that's going to be high, ball 4. So that is not the way to pitch. because now here comes Spivey. And as we mentioned, he is the toughest hitter in the league against left-hand pitching.
Spivey.
And he lived up to that when he rifled a single to left field in the first inning. Junior doing it all, leading the D-backs in RBIs and in runs scored. So he has personally contributed 72 runs this year. And the pitch over the top in the dirt, a nice save by LaDuca, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. 26 for 55. That's what Junior Spivey has done so far. Of those 26 hits against left-handers, 5 home runs and 16 RBIs. The 1-0 pitch taken for a strike, and the count 1-1. He got everybody's attention early last year when Spivey had 2 games where he went 5 for 5, and Dahl is very conscious of him. Omar set, and the 1-1 pitch on the way, and that's a strike at the knees, inside corner, 1-2 to count. So the D-backs got a run and left 2 in the first inning, and they have 2 men aboard here in the second. Dahl hands it aside. Miller at second, Counsell at first. And the 1-2 pitch to Junior Spivey, and that's a half swing. It's going to cost him a full strike. So Spivey down on strikes. Dahl gets out of a jam. The D-backs leave 2. They have left 4 in the first inning and a half. And at the end of an inning and a half, D-backs 1, Dodgers nothing.
Number 16. Catcher.
Friends, a reminder, Sunday, the Dodgers finish the homestand against the Arizona Diamondbacks at 1:10, and all fans in attendance receive a free beach towel, compliments of Farmer John. We're going to the bottom of the second inning, 1-0 D-backs on Paul LaDuca bobblehead night. You know, I get a kick out of the fact they are doing every imaginable study on the ball players, and the latest thing, that only 2 position players to play on their bobblehead days last week. They each went 2 for 4. Eric Chavez and Richie Sexson. So we'll see what LaDuca does on his bobblehead night as he takes a strike. What makes it interesting, Paulie is one of only 5 active players with a .400 lifetime batting average against Randy Johnson. Larry Walker, Randy Velarde, Chipper Jones, Miguel Cairo, and LaDuca, who hits a slow ground ball to Womack. Tony throws him out. So 1 away here in the second inning, and the batter will be Eric Carr. I love the line when Paul LaDuca had a bobblehead night. His nephew said, "Uncle Paulie is a toy." Well, kind of. And the other thing for LaDuca, he just can't believe that there would be a bobblehead night in his honor, not after the fact he had to come out of virtual obscurity 2 years ago, but he has reached the heights of the bobblehead doll. And now Eric Carr. Johnson deals outside, ball 1, 1-0. Eric has 3 home runs against Randy in the past, .241 batting average against him. Johnson deals, fastball low, and the count ball 2. Talking about home runs, Randy Johnson, as good as he is, has allowed 9. 2 balls and no strikes. The fastball is whacked to the gap in left center. That's going to go to the wall. So Karras will go into second base standing with a double. Hoffman will put the stop sign up. So the tying run is out there with 1 out, and Brian Jordan coming up. D-backs leading 1-0, but Eric Karras just bangs one in the gap for a double. For Eric, his 11th double of the year. Gonzalez got to it and got it back to the infield. And now Brian Jordan. Jordan has done very well in the past against Brian Jordan. Against Randy Johnson, a .346 batting average, no home run. Johnson ready, looks at Karras, works him, and it's foul back in the count 0-1. Brian Jordan batting .291. But lately, in the last 9 games, he has been blistering hot, batting .438. And the Dodgers are hoping he can get them even now with a base hit against Randy Johnson. 0-1 the count. Randy ready, delivers, fastball grounded to short. Karras is going to go over, and Womack throws to first in time for the out. Kind of a questionable play, but Eric made it, and that's all that counts. So coming up, Marquise Grissom. Last Sunday, 1 for 25 in his career, and he took Randy deep on a pitch that was up into the right center field seats over at Bank One. Then he got a pitch down and over the plate and pulled that into the seats in left field. Interesting, he did that, something that no player had ever done. That is, hit home runs against Randy Johnson in back-to-back innings. In fact, only 4 other players had ever even homered off the unit in consecutive at-bats in the same game. Pitch in for a strike. Pretty good laundry list of names who have multi-home runs against Johnson. Chipper Jones has done it twice. Kevin Young, Javi Lopez, Juan Gonzalez, Greg Norton, Jim Edmonds, John Valentin, whole group. Grissom takes a strike on the inside corner, so he's in a hole. 0-2. So Karras at third. We can tell you too, Randy Johnson does not have a wild pitch. 0-2 the count. Randy checks, straightens up, and the strike 2 pitch on the way. Breaking ball hits slowly to third. Backhanded by Counsell, who throws him out. So the Dodgers waste the double by Karras. And at the end of 2, it remains the Diamondbacks and Randy Johnson 1 and the Dodgers nothing. Dodger Baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, by your local Lexus dealers, by Aflac, ask about it at work, and by SBC, Infinite Character SBC. We're going to the 3rd inning here at Dodger Stadium, game 1 of the weekend series with the D-backs. In case you joined us a little late, 3 singles in the first inning got the run. Jose Guillen single brought it in. Fly ball had dropped in. So it is the second time around for Gonzalez, Colburn, and Guillen. Lewis struck out in the first inning. He hit the home run that gave the D-backs the big win, 1-0 yesterday. Rather remarkable job turned in by Rick Helling. 2-1 the count. Fourth meeting of the year between the two clubs. D-backs won 2 out of 3 in Arizona. Gonzalez with 13 home runs in his career at Dodger Stadium, but he's never had a big series here career-wise, hitting .242 in this park. Fouled away. In San Francisco, Gonzalez was 5 for 15. He had a double, a triple, a home run, and a couple of walks. Breaking ball got him looking, and he knew it. So it's the second time that Gonzo has struck out. 3 strikeouts for Omar Dahl. Omar beat Arizona last year. He was pitching for Philadelphia. So now with 3 strikeouts, he'll go to work on Colburn. Greg Colburn has already made his presence known. He blistered a single to right field in the first inning to set up the run, and then took an extra base hit away from Sean Green in the bottom of the first. But Greg Colburn, who figures to play against left-handers, Durazo would play against the righties. That thing is going to wind up in Grissom's glove. So just like that, 2 down. 1-0 Arizona. And the batter, Jose Guillen. It was Guillen with first and third and 2 out who hit the fly ball that dropped in. So he's 1 for 1 with a run batted in. You may remember Jose Guillen came up as a kid with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Went back down and now surfaces with Arizona. Ball one. For Jose Guillen now making his 16th start. And the kid's getting into the cotton candy for sure. 1-1 the count. Guillen went from Pittsburgh to Tampa Bay last year, an injury-riddled year, and he was signed as a free agent over the winter. Little did they know they were going to lose a good outfielder in Danny Bautista. Shot foul outside of third. Bautista's a better fielder than Jose. Jose has a very good arm. We saw that. Bob Brenly feels that Guillen also has more power than Bautista. 1-2. A good fastball for strikeout number 4 for Omar Dahl. So he sets him down in order. He's retired 4 in a row. And at the end of 2.5 innings, Arizona 1, Dodgers. Just a reminder, stay tuned after the game for highlights of all of today's sports action. We'll present the Southern California Sports Report. We'll have a complete Dodger coverage and a whole lot more. The Southern California Sports Report coming up right after the game. Bottom of the third inning and Mark Rasolanek coming up. One thing the hitters are looking at now with Randy Johnson, the first pitch strike. Randy ready? Let's see. And it's ball one. The first 7 batters, the first pitch to 6 of them was a strike, and the only batter he didn't throw a first pitch to was Eric Karros, who doubled. 1 ball, no strikes. Fastball lifted down the right field line. Here comes Guillen. 1 away. And the batter will be Omar Dahl.
Pitcher number 36.
So Mark Rasolanek,
Dahl,
who has not played because of the bad foot, has certainly picked a great time to come back, right, against Randy Johnson. And he never had any success against him anyway. Mark Rasolanek hitting about $1.50 against Randy Johnson. Now Omar Dahl. Dahl, as a reliever most of the year, hasn't had many chances to swing the bat. Little topper to Counsell. 2 down. The Dodgers are aware of the fact, A, that they won 6 of the last 7 at home. B, that in doing that, it's not nearly as impressive when you realize they were playing Montreal and Milwaukee. So this is the beginning of a tough series at home with Arizona. Sean Green and company so far with 1 hit against Randy Johnson. The batter Cesar Izturis grounded out in the first inning. Izturis hitting over 300 right-handed, in the 220s left-handed, had a big April and a very low May. Ball 1. So he's down about 70 points this month. And of course we are running out of May. In the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. Randy Johnson, soft-spoken, very quiet, rather withdrawn, not aloof. And I think part of it is his height. Good fastball strike. 1 and 2. As Randy says in his soft voice, when you're 6'10" now, and as you were growing up, he was always far taller than anybody else. You get all the kidding and everything else, and it wears on you. 2 and 2 the count. Now he said it's not so bad. Now when they see me, it's not, here comes that big 6'10" guy. Now it's, here comes Randy Johnson. Totally different. 3 and 2 the count as Cesar Izturis. with Adrian Beltre on deck. 4 Cy Young awards. Randy, the proud possessor of 1 in the American League and then 3 straight in the National League. So they'll go along with his collection of autographs. He has autographs from Lefty Grove, Cy Young, Babe Ruth, and every Cy Young award winner from each league over the past 10 years. Little ground ball to Junior Spivey. So this is a different Randy Johnson. He really looks like himself tonight. He did not look that way in Arizona, and at the end of 3, 1-0 Diamondbacks. Fourth inning, 1-0 Arizona. Steve Finley, Damian Miller, and Tony Womack. Big slow curveball for a strike. Finley, a veteran, which means he is 37 years old. I mean, he's played a lot. 1-1. One ball and 1 strike to count. Finley fouled out in the first inning. Steve 0 for 1. And that's going to be hit into left field for a base hit. So Dahl right around the plate, and in some respects paying the price by giving up his 5th hit.
Catcher number 26, Damian Miller.
Damian Miller coming up. We have our Aflac trivia question. Randy Johnson has 3,500 strikeouts. That's second most ever by a left-hander. Who's first among left-hand pitchers? Do you know? Well, we'll tell you the answer a little bit later on. Breaking ball strike. Say one thing that Randy has to do, and remember he's 39 in September. I don't think he will come close to the innings pitched by several left-handers. Ground ball into right field. So everything that Dahl serves up is taken either one way or the other. Now first and second and nobody out, and the batter will be Tony Womack.
Shortstop
so
5.
Miller is 2 for 2.
Tony
1
Womack.
run, 6 hits. Finley at second base, and Womack coming up. Womack followed by Randy Johnson, so that poses a problem. The Dodgers don't expect Womack to be bunting, hitting .259. There's the bunt, and Dahl has to go to first in time for the out. This way, by having Womack bunt, Randy can't hit into a double play, and really what they've done is set it up for Craig Counsell.
Pitcher.
Unless, of course, Randy decides to do it himself. Up north, the Rockies, who are playing very, very well. The Rockies are leading the Giants 3-0, top of the second inning. And the Dodgers will be heading to Colorado after this series. So Randy coming up. We're talking about the innings pitched. Do you realize that Warren Spahn pitched over 5,200 innings? Steve Carlton over 5,200 innings. And Randy will never pitch that many. Infield is up. That's a strike, and the count 0-1. Johnson with 80 innings this year. So that'd give him 2,800. But Spahn and Carlton 5,200 innings. 0-2 the count. So Dahl trying to put the big left-hander away with second and third and 1 out. It's 1-0 Arizona. You have Steve Finley at third, Damian Miller at second, and 0-2 to Randy Johnson. Got him. Well, that's 5 5 strikeouts for Omar Dahl, but he's certainly not out of the woods. Here comes Craig Counsell.
Third baseman number 4, Craig Counsell.
Counsell having a solid year, doing a wonderful job in the leadoff role for the last 2 weeks. On base percentage might not be as high as you would want for a leadoff man, about 360, but nevertheless a very steady 295. Counsell hit back to the box and walked, so 0 for 1. Dahl off the rubber. Counsell has 4 hits. I'll make it 3 for 9 plus a walk against Dahl in the past. One run, 6 hits for Arizona, no runs, 1 hit for the Dodgers. Steve Finley at third, Damian Miller at second with 2 outs, and a big at bat for Craig Counsell. Now remember, he walked Counsell in the 2nd inning, and that's not the way to pitch with Junior Spivey batting second. But he got away with it by striking out Spivey, who had singled and scored the run in the 1st inning. That's a strike. Fastball in at the knees. 1-1. Missed inside. Ball 2. 2-1. Jim Tracy pacing up and down after the 3 hits for a run in the 1st inning. Dahl retired the side in order in the 3rd, but he's in trouble otherwise. I think he's unhappy with the plate umpire, Larry Vanover. Ground ball up the middle. Base hit. That should be good for 2 runs. So Omar Dahl just can't get him out. Craig Counsell now singles in 2, and you get that slip sliding away thing. And of course, Dahl is angry. Among other things, he feels the previous pitch was a strike to Counsell, but it was called a ball. Jim Tracy thought that that was a strike, and Counsell takes advantage and singles home 2. So the Dodgers let the Arizona Diamondbacks lead 4-0 with Randy Johnson in Arizona, and somehow or other scrap back. Foul ball. Now they're letting Randy and the D-backs lead 3-0. Here's the previous pitch. You be the judge. Look at LaDuca's glove. I think it was inside, at least on the replay. And then Counsell hit the nurse pitch up the middle. 0-1. Spivey 1 for 2. Fouled off. So no balls and 2 strikes to Spivey. Meanwhile, through 3 innings, the Dodgers have just 1 hit, the double by Eric Karros. Green was robbed of an extra base hit, a fine play by Greg Colburn. And that's really it up to here. 0-2. Ball 1. Junior Spivey, how about that? Hitting .464 against left-handers. There goes a runner who then holds, and there goes the ball. It's another base hit. Counsell is going to hold at second. So no matter what Omar Dahl serves up there, it's either a strikeout, he has 5, or it's a base hit. 3 runs and 8 hits for Arizona. And now here's Gonzalez, who has struck out twice, and Jim Colburn has gone out to the mound. Dodgers began the night 2 games back. Had a feeling they were making a move on Arizona. Then the D-backs won yesterday 1-0, and they've pounced on Dahl, who has now made 66 pitches in 3 2/3 innings. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the fourth inning, Adrian Beltre, Sean Green, and Paul LaDuca. So Luis Gonzalez, 0 for 2 checking in with Counsell at second, Spivey at first. So Dahl trying to get out of the inning and still keep it a game. Ball one. On deck, the right-hand hitting Greg Colburn. Arizona is 10-5 against left-hand pitching, the starters anyway. That misses. Ball 2, 2-0. The feeling is in the league that the left-hand pitchers are the one to keep Arizona quiet, and yet they're 2-1 the right way. And you have people like Gonzalez and Finley and DeLucci, Uribe Durazo, Tony Womack, Craig Counsell. A lot of left-handed bats. And that's going to be hit wide to third, knocked down by Beltre to keep it on the infield, and the bases are loaded. So Beltre just did get his fingertips on the ball.
First baseman.
And the bases are loaded for Greg Colburn. Would have been a very tough play. The scorer is looking at the instant replay, and in a moment we'll get his judgment call. But we do know it'll be a base hit. The bases are loaded. And here's Colburn. Greg Colburn has 2 grand slams in his career. The last one, 1997 against Toronto, and he happened to hit it against Omar Dahl. Hard foul outside of third. That almost took Counsell's shoes off. 0-1 the count. So Greg Colburn single to right, fly to center. Up there now trying to break the game open, and the Dodgers begin to move around in the bullpen. Dahl has not been convincing, making a lot of pitches. And Giovanni Mota, Guillermo Mota is getting up, not Carrara. That's a strike. 3 runs, 9 hits for Arizona. No runs, just 1 hit for the Dodgers, a double by Eric Karros. Ball 1. Counsell at third, Spivey at second, and Gonzalez at first. 1 and 2. They're going to check. No swing, says Angel Hernandez. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So the Diamondbacks scoring in the first inning. And they've added 2 more here in the fourth. And a drive to left. Back goes Jordan, away back. It is off the bullpen gate. 2 runs will score. 3 runs will score. 6-0. And for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Greg Colburn came very close to hitting another grand slam against Omar Dahl. So Dahl makes a rare start, and he is certainly not going to be around very long. 6 runs and 10 hits in 3 2/3 innings. And Colburn got a pitch up and unloaded. Ball was hit over Jordan's head and hit off the padding, the top part of the gate. Pop fly, backer first. Karras angles inside the line to make the catch, but the damage was more than done by Greg Colburn. 5 runs over, and at the end of 3 1/2, 6-0 Arizona. Remember the Aflac trivia question? Randy Johnson is 3,500 strikeouts, second most ever by a left-hander. Who's first among the lefties? The answer, Steve Carlton. 4,100 strikeouts in 5,200 innings. Ball course, a lot of people think that the strikeout mark has gone up in direct ratio to the home runs that have been hit. I mean, who better than Warren Spahn? Spahn laments the lack of discipline among today's hitters. He said it's no disgrace today to strike out. If you guess right, hit the ball out of the ballpark, you're a hero. That got by Randy, but Spivey is there. So Beltre is 0 for 2. One out. Sean Green coming up.
Right field number 15, Sean Green.
Sean Green hit the ball sharply in the bottom of the first inning, but he hit it to Greg Colburn's glove side, and the first baseman took it away from him. Otherwise, it's down the line for a double. So Green 0 for 1. Ball 1. Breaking ball missed. Ball 2, 2-0. Winning percentage. If you want to match career winning percentage among left-handers, not Lefty Grove. The left-hander is Whitey Ford. Whitey Ford's winning percentage .690. The Yankees had a lot of good pitchers under Casey Stengel, but he always said Whitey Ford was the best. 3-1 to count. And so Green draws a walk, and the batter will be Paul LaDuca. 6-0 in favor of Arizona. It's almost as the Dodgers were saying, we spotted him 4 in Arizona and got rid of him. Now spotting him 6. But tonight he is a vastly better looking pitcher. He's throwing with more velocity. He hadn't thrown a lot of those hard sliders, and he's still muttering to himself, but he is leading 6-0. LaDuca grounded out 0 for 1. One of the rare 400 hitters against Randy Johnson. Right. Larry Walker has the best batting average against Randy Johnson. The only left-hand hitter to boast of that. Randy Velarde, Chipper Jones, Miguel Cairo, and LaDuca all right-handed. 1-1. Junior Spivey is just taking left-handers apart. But we ought to match him against Randy Johnson. 6 runs, 10 hits for Arizona. No runs, 1 hit, 1 murmur of protest. The double by Karras. Slider hit foul. 1-2 to count. Paulie raised in Arizona. Glendale, went to school over there. Arizona State. Green at first, 1 out in the 4th. 6-0 Arizona. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fouled. Still 1-2. Adrian Beltre collecting the ball, but it's easy to get a ball and a hit. Sellout crowd at Dodger Stadium. Paul LaDuca bobblehead night. And of course Randy Johnson acting the role of the spoiler. 1-2. And that's going to be dropped by Womack. So they get 1, and they are going to get 2. It was not that he dropped it purposely. It just got away from him, and Green had nowhere to go. So a 6-4-3 double play. And at the end of 4, the D-backs doing everything right, leading 6-0. Arizona here tomorrow at 1:10, televised on Big Fox, Channel 11. Sunday with Arizona, UPN 13. Dodgers go to Colorado. All 3 games will be on Fox Sports Net 2. And, of course, every Dodger game on Fox Sports AM 1150 with Ross Porter and Rick Monday. And on KWKW 1330 AM, Jaime Harin and Pepe Iniguez. So we go to the 5th inning. Randy Johnson visiting with Brenly makes him laugh. Brenly talking about how that ball was diving and sinking. And that's a strike to Steve Finley. Lifted to left field. Jordan is there. One out, and Damian Miller coming up. So Dahl has 5 strikeouts. Randy Johnson has 1 strikeout. And Dahl's been pretty much blown out of the water. 6-0 Arizona. Miller 2 for 2. One ball and no strikes to Damian. Pop foul off to the right, out of play, and the count 1-1. Miller was a little bit banged up, bad leg, but it didn't bother him in a crouch. It only bothers him running a little bit, but he's able to score a run tonight. Remember, tomorrow afternoon, Andy Ashby and Brian Anderson. Ball 2. Meanwhile, Ashby looking at this Arizona ball club, making his own thoughts. Miller chasing that one. 2-2. Fly ball over the head of Grissom, but he goes back to get it and does for the 2nd out. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Dodgers may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express consent of the Dodgers. In looking at Andy Ashby, who is sitting there in the dugout looking at Arizona, you may remember Andy went 5 2/3 and only allowed 2 runs. So they will need his arm tomorrow for sure, especially from the looks of things here in the 5th inning. Kazashi will then pitch Sunday against Miguel Batista. Dave Roberts talking to Chad Kruger in the Dodger dugout. So a left-hander puts him on the bench. 2-1 the count. Tony Womack. Hop fly back a third and foul ground. Beltry on a dead run, can't get it. When the Dodgers bat in the 5th inning, Eric Karros, Brian Jordan, Marquise Grissom. Dodgers have 1 hit in 4 innings. Eric Karros doubled to the gap in left center field, and that's it. Otherwise, they have been completely shut down. 2-2 to Womack. Slap to left. Jordan able to pick it off. So for the 2nd time tonight, Dahl retires the side in order, but at the end of 4 1/2, 6-0 in favor of Arizona. Why not treat your guests to baseball on an entirely new level in a Dodger Stadium suite? They can accommodate from 15 to 80 people, impeccable service, gourmet food. For available dates and more information, call 323-224-1320. Bottom of the 5th inning. Eric Karros to start it off. Double the left center in the 2nd inning. First ball hitting a slow roller to Womack, who bounces the throw and pulls Coburn off the bag. And I'll tell you what bothered Womack, I think. Craig Counsell. Craig Counsell went wide of the bag, and Tony almost appeared to be a little startled. and then just slipped it into the dirt. Just Counsell coming over there. I think his presence might have bothered him. For Womack, his 6th error. So the Dodgers get a base runner, and that's really news tonight, the way Johnson is pitching. Ryan Jordan grounded to short with Karras at second and 1 out in the 2nd inning. Little breaking ball strike on 1. Meanwhile, Omar Dahl talking to Cesar Izturis. Not too much to talk about. 6 runs, 10 hits for Arizona. No runs, 1 hit for the Dodgers. Boy, that's a tough pitch. 1-1 to count. He's throwing that down and in anywhere around 94. Ground ball, look out here for 2. That's 1. That's 2. So the Dodgers ground into their 2nd double play. They have grounded into 62 double plays. So that has slowed their attack down considerably all year long. Womack just gets that ball in a perfect spot for Spivey. Meanwhile, Karras isn't even in the picture, so Spivey has plenty of time to turn and complete it. So the error turns into a DP, and just like that, 2 down. Here's Grissom, ball 1, 1-0. It didn't take a whiz kid to see Randy Johnson in the 1st inning, and you thought, uh-oh, this is a different Johnson. This is the real Johnson, not the one who pitched last time out. There's Spivey to put it away. So Randy Johnson in firm control, leading 6-0. In 1968, this was the night. Don Drysdale hit Dick Dietz. Harry Wendelstedt said he didn't get out of the way. A rhubarb. Herman Franks kicked out. Drysdale, with the bases loaded, got out of the jam. Went on to rack up 58 scoreless innings. Let's get back to this game. So Randy Johnson, ground ball off the glove of Beltry, on out into left field. So Johnson checks in with a could be his 3rd hit. It depends on the scoring. Ball headed for the hole. Beltry reaching out with the leather.
Third baseman number 4.
Off the thumb as he closed his glove and came up empty. Meanwhile, Craig Counsell coming up. And it will be an error charged to Beltray. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Brian Corey begins to loosen up. That's a strike. This will be Dahl's last inning. He's due to bat 2nd when the Dodgers hit in the bottom of the 6th. 6-0 Diamondbacks. Got a run in the 1st inning. Dahl up to his hips in alligators all night. And finally, the D-backs came up with a big 5 runs on 6 hits in the 4th inning. 0-2. Hammered to right, hooking down the line and going foul. Big crowd on hand and a Friday night good frame of mind, but it's been all Arizona to dampen the spirits of the sellout crowd. 0-2 the count to Counsell. Ground ball to Beltray. Down to Grassolonic. Turns it to Karras. So turnabout is fair play, and the Dodgers turn a double play.
Second baseman number 37. Junior.
So 2 out in the 6th inning, and here comes Junior Spivey, 2 for 3. Single to left, single to right. Ernest Lee Spivey Jr. 6 runs, 10 hits, 1 error for Arizona. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 error for the Dodgers. Ball 1. Kurt Schilling is 10-1, and Johnson is trying to go 9-1. The rest of the ball club is only so-so. Schilling brilliant again his last outing. His record following a defeat 17-2. So Arizona just can't go into a tailspin as long as Schilling and Johnson are around. Then after that, Helling's 5-5, Batista 2-2. Nothing really else, but those two are able to do it. Right, 3-1. Dodgers will have Grassolonic, a hitter for Dahl, and Izturis. And 2. Hiram Bocachica might have the unenviable task of batting for Dahl. We'll see. I know one thing, the Giants know how the Dodgers feel. Up north, they're in the top of the 3rd inning, and Colorado is leading the Giants 6-0.
Number 20, Luis Gonzalez.
Jeff Rebele with a bat, wondering if he might get the call. Of course, what's happened, the Dodgers had won 7 out of 10. The Giants have lost 7 out of 10. And Arizona just playing 500 ball. But the combination tonight could push the Dodgers back to trail by 3, and the Giants would be behind by 3.5. So, time for Bob Brenly to blow bubbles. Oh, 1. No balls and 2 strikes to Luis Gonzalez. Struck out twice, singled. The very popular Gonzo, the father of triplets. In the last 3 years, he's the number 3 RBI man as he takes a pitch high. Meanwhile, Spivey just steals second base. They didn't even look at him. 1-2 the count to Luis Gonzalez. Todd Helton, Sammy Sosa, and Gonzalez. Those are the big RBI guys in the league for the last 3 years. Followed by Bagwell, Bonds, and Vladimir Guerrero. But Gonzalez is no kid. He'll be 35. One and 2 the count. On the corner, got him a 3rd time. However, Dahl cannot be satisfied with striking out Gonzalez 3 times. Can't be satisfied with coming up with his 6th strikeout because he's down 6-0. 6-0. Randy Johnson throwing that hard sinker, and it is really protecting the lead. A shot to Womack was turned into a double play off the bat of Paul LaDuca, and then Brian Jordan went down to get a sinker, and that was turned into a double play. So the protection keeps it 6-0 Arizona, and Randy going to work on a 1-hitter in the bottom of the 6th inning. Grassolonic followed by Rebele. So Jeff Rebele is out on deck. He will bat for Omar Dahl. 1 ball and 1 strike to Mark. Fly to right field in the 3rd inning. Has had an awful time against Randy Johnson, and he has a lot of company. So Dahl is finished. 6 runs, 10 hits as Grassolonic singles up the middle. That is hit number 2. So Dahl comes out allowing 6 runs,
Your attention, please,
10
for the
hits,
Dodgers.
1 walk,
Victor Dahl,
and 6
number
strikeouts.
13.
And Jeff Rebele will now bat for him. So it was a big assignment, not only to fill in for Kevin Brown, but to draw Randy Johnson, and it just didn't work for him. Jeff Rebele with Cesar Izturis on deck. Down in the pen, Guillermo Mota begins to loosen up again. Ball 1. That's a strike on the corner. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jeff Rebele. Check swing foul into the crowd behind the Arizona dugout. In case you're wondering, Randy Johnson had a no-hitter. He had it 12 years ago over in the American League against Detroit. So he has a 2-hitter tonight. 1-2 the count to Rebele with Cesar Izturis on deck. Randy trying to make his record 9-1. More importantly, trying to beat the Dodgers 5 straight. And all of his wins would be here. That's a strike. Rebele can't believe it, turns and walks away. For Randy Johnson, who struck out as many as 20 in a game, that's only his 2nd strikeout. He's doing it with a minimum number of pitches. He was in the 50s and Dahl was in the 80s. And he's still in the 50s. Fouled away. 0-1. Izturis twice hitting ground balls to Junior Spivey. Tomorrow at 1:10, Andy Ashby and Brian Anderson. Then Sunday, Kaz Ishii and Miguel Batista. And then following Sunday's game, the Dodgers leave and go out on a pretty long trip. Little comebacker, but play at second for 1, not in time at first. Hard slide by Grassolonic, which of course is the way he plays no matter the score.
Third baseman, number 29.
So that keeps the inning alive, and Adrian Beltre coming up. As you can see, he went in as hard as he could, and Womack had to get out of the way and couldn't get much on the throw. 2 out. Beltre has struck out and grounded out. Adrian 0 for 2. Ball 1. 6 runs, 10 hits for Arizona. No runs, 2 hits for the Dodgers. Randy Johnson's father tells the story. When Randy was very young, he kind of idolized By the Blue, and he would make believe that he was pitching, and he would throw the baseball against the garage door on the side of the garage. And he would throw the ball so hard, after a while he'd loosen a lot of the nails in the siding. And his father never said a word, and then when Randy had had enough, his father would come out with a hammer and say, "All right, son, knock the nails back in." And he'd go out and put the garage back into place. 3-0 the count. 3-1. Sean Green on deck. 6-0 Arizona in the 6th inning. Randy Johnson has one shutout this year. He hasn't had to throw over to first base very much. And that pop foul out of play. 3-2 to count to Adrian Beltre. 2 down, bottom of the 6th. D-backs 6, Dodgers nothing. So Rebele and Grassolonic. Grassolonic had a base hit. Rebele called out on strikes. And with 2 down is Turris ready to go. 3-2. High, strike 3. Beltre started to go to first. Down he goes. Strikeout number 3 for Randy Johnson. Walks off in firm command of a 6-0 lead. Dodger Baseball is brought to you by the Mercedes-Benz dealers of Southern California, by SBC, Infinite Character SBC, and by Pennzoil, we're driving protection. The totals through 6. Arizona 6 runs, 10 hits, and 1 error. The Dodgers no runs, 2 hits. They have not gotten but 1 man to second base. That was Karras when he doubled in the 2nd inning. Jeff Rebele, who batted for Omar Dahl and was called out on strike, stays in the game at 3rd base. And Guillermo Mota will pick up on the mound, and he will go in Beltre's spot. So Mota, who throws hard, it's a question of whether he's in the strike zone or not. And he'll be facing Greg Colburn, Jose Guillen, and then Steve Finley. Mota with an ERA of 3.6. 9 strikeouts and 5 walks. Thrown in the 90s. Colburn singled to set up 1 run and doubled in 3. He had hit a grand slam home run against Omar Dahl 5 years ago and almost hit another slam. He at the top of the bullpen gate with the bases loaded in the 4th inning, and that broke the game wide open. Fouled and missed. LaDuca has a play, takes care of him. Strikeout number 1 from Mota. 7 D-backs struck out, but 10 D-backs have a hit. Jose Guillen singled to center, struck out, and popped up. 1 for 3. His base hit was a little fly ball that dropped in, and maybe that was the beginning of the overture in the end for Dahl, and a tip off on what kind of a night it was going to be. Ball 1. So young Mota, not that he's a baby, but he is certainly young enough in experience. Dodgers feel that eventually he will be a wonderful setup man. They kind of equate him with, oh, let's say Felix Rodriguez, who at one time was with the Dodgers. Foul ball. Andy Ashby, Brian Anderson tomorrow at 1:10. Kaz Ishii and Miguel Batista on Sunday at 1:10, and that'll be that. Dodgers go out on the road. They play in Denver, Baltimore, and Tampa Bay. 1-2. Hard pitch missed at the plate. So that's 2 strikeouts for Mota, and the batter will be Steve Finley.
Center fielder number 12, Steve Finley.
Finley fouled out, singled, and flied out. 1 for 3. when the Dodgers bat in the 7th inning, Green, LaDuca, and Karras. The way Randy Johnson is pitching, you don't say when the Dodgers hit in the 7th inning. You say when the Dodgers bat. He has allowed 2 hits through 6. Finley batting .244. Right. 1-1. We mentioned earlier he is somewhat of a notorious streak hitter, but he has not had a usual streak yet. Popped up. Now let's see who's going to take charge. Grassolonic and his tourist. And Grassolonic made the catch. Obviously, Mota should have directed traffic, didn't do it. But it's a 1-2-3 inning, and at the end of 6 1/2, 6-0 D-backs. Now for a sports update, let's go to the Fox Sports Net studio. Bottom of the 7th, 6-0 D-backs on the scoreboard. Colorado leading the Giants 6-0 in the 5th inning. Milwaukee knocked off San Diego. Houston did the same to Chicago. The Mets leading Florida. Montreal shaded Philadelphia. Atlanta blanked Cincinnati. And Pittsburgh edged St. Louis 3-1. So bottom of the 7th inning, and Sean Green to start it off. Robbed of a hit and walked. Ground ball to third. Kicked over there by Counsell. Picked up by Womack. So the Diamondbacks came in here right up at the top of the heap in fielding, but that's the 2nd error committed.
Catcher number 16.
One by Womack, and now this one by Counsell. The ball just handcuffed him. The Green is aboard on the error. Well, the Diamondbacks, they have only made 26 errors all year, and the Dodgers have only made 30. And Matt Williams thinking, I wish I were playing. He said he might be ready after the All-Star break. And we've been watching Matt early in the ballpark in Arizona and again tonight. And I mean, he was ripping the ball in batting practice. So they could really use that right-handed bat, because that would take all the sting out of all the left-handers they see. But not yet. Not till after the All-Star break. 0-1 to Paul LaDuca. Grounded out, hit into a double play, 0 for 2. On the corner, he can't believe it, thought it was outside. 200th career game at catcher. Wow. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, now let's see the location of this pitch. The last one was outside. See what he does 0-2. Green goes. It's in on the hands and fouled away. Coming over is Counsell just in case, but that's back in the stand. You never want to quit on a foul ball in this ballpark, because the natural draft a lot of times has a tendency to bring the ball back. Counsell was hoping on that, but it didn't happen. Lowe, the poor infielder who quits on a foul ball and has it come back and drop untouched. So Green at first was going on the last pitch. 0-2 to LaDuca. 6-0 Arizona, bottom of the 7th. Breaking ball, 1-2. So Bob Brenly has his big man out there. The other big man resting quietly in the dugout. On the Dodger dugout show Sunday, UPN 13, you'll meet both Curt Schilling and Randy Johnson. Coburn unable to handle a low throw, so LaDuca avoids hitting into his second double play. So when we saw Bob Brenly's gesture about how the pitch is diving, that's exactly what's happening. Dodgers just can't get the ball up at all. So Johnson very much in command, and the batter is Eric Karros. So LaDuca at first, held on by Colburn. Karros doubled and reached on the error. Eric really putting up the numbers for the last 2 weeks. 375 batting average. Karros came into the game batting .311, and he's 1 for 2. Oh and 1. Slider in on the hands. Brian Jordan on deck. You wonder if Karros is becoming a different type hitter. He had 5 years of 30 home runs or more. The greatest Los Angeles Dodger home run hitter. Now becoming more of a line drive hitter. 1-1 to count. LaDuca quiet at first. 6-0 Arizona, bottom of the 7th, 1 out. Pretty good sinking fastball, 1-2. And a slider hit in the air down the left field line. Gonzalez a long way to go, and Womack goes out and makes a tremendous catch. So Gonzalez was out of contention, and Tony Womack makes a wonderful play way down the line, across the line, lunging, and made it. So a fine play by the Arizona shortstop. 2 down. So Tony might have kicked one earlier, but he makes a dazzling play to retire Karros, and that'll bring up Brian Jordan. Dodgers still have had only 1 man get to second base. That was Karros in the 2nd inning. Jordan is grounded out, hit into a double play. Ball 1. I think to a man, everyone realized that Randy Johnson was not himself in Arizona. But there is something about this ballpark. He wins it tonight, he'll be 5-0 against the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium. 1998, there were 2 free agents on the market, Kevin Brown, Randy Johnson. Dodgers opted for Brown. He has been on the DL 5 times. Randy Johnson won 3 straight Cy Young awards. A drive to left, base hit. Gonzalez was overshifted. He has to run it down with a slide, and the Dodgers will have runners at 2nd and 3rd with 2 out on a double by Brian Jordan. So Jordan doubles down the left field line. Gonzo, a little fancy slide to come up with it. So the Dodgers get their 2nd man at 2nd with a runner at 3rd now. The only man they've had. Karros got to 3rd base in the 2nd inning. Grissom is grounded to 3rd, popped up 0 for 2. Marquise along with Dave Roberts doing a wonderful job alternating in the outfield. That's a strike. That first pitch strike. Dave Roberts now a cheerleader for Marquise Grissom. Roberts hitting .320, and Grissom came in hitting .300. 6-0 Arizona. 2nd and 3rd, 2 out for the Dodgers. And Grassolonic on deck. Time. Beach ball retrieved out for first base. So Jordan doubles LaDuca to third with 2 out. 0-1 to Marquise Grissom. In the dirt. Nice save by Damian Miller. That's what Bob Brenly says about Miller. He is the secret weapon behind the plate. Brenly, who caught, of course, in his playing days, knows a good catcher when he sees one. I mean, Miller handles that vicious slider of Randy Johnson, the great splitter of Curt Schilling, the sidearm knuckle scraping delivery of Mike Myers, and the similar only right-handed delivery of Byung-Hyun Kim. He does a marvelous job, and he has held the opposition to 22 stolen bases. That's going to go down the right field line. In the corner, it is gone. Home run to right field. Marquise Griffin hits his third against Randy Johnson. And the score is 6-3, Arizona. In Arizona, Marquise homered to right, center, and to left, now to right. So the Dodgers get back into the game. 6-3 Arizona. Fastball up, and he took him to right field. So Griss does it again, and the batter is Mark Grassolonic for a strike. And remember, Jeff Rebele bats 9th. That is really remarkable. 1 for 25, and he now has 3 home runs in his last 5 at-bats. Of course, for Grissom, the veteran, you never see him get too high. You never see him get too low. That's one reason why he's had such a good career. You take the good with the bad, stay on an even keel, and keep playing. One and one to Grassolonic, now 2-1. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Giovanni Carrara will begin to loosen up. Grassolonic is followed by Rebele, remember. That's a strike. 2-2. Grassolonic flied to right and singled up the middle. Breaking ball, but it stayed out. There wasn't much break on it. 3-2 the count. So an error, a force play, a foul ball, and then Jordan's double and Grissom's home run. 3-2. Fastball fouled away. So Grissom homers today. He's had 3 home runs now in 5 at-bats against Randy Johnson. And a 3-2 pitch. Slapped into right field. Base hit. So Grassolonic goes the other way. And the Dodgers trying to get back in the game.
Third baseman number 14.
Jeff Rebele batted for Omar Dahl and struck out in the 6th inning. Well, let's see. Chuck Niffen on his way out to the mound. Randy is not overworked, that's for sure. He's only made 89 pitches. So Chuck Niffen, who replaced Bobby Welch, coming out. The pitching coach, Chuck Niffen, is an interesting man. He is one of those people in baseball who attributes a lot to his mother. She was instructor, mentor, transportation coordinator in the early days out in Long Island. Once even pinch coached when the man in charge didn't show up. And as Chuck said, Mom taught me how to play. Well, he is the coach now, taking over for Bobby Welch. Welch used to say there isn't very much I could say to Schilling and Johnson, so I'm not sure what Chuck Niffen can say. That's popped up behind the plate. Damian Miller. And that'll be that. So the Dodgers get 3 thanks to Marquise Grissom going the other way. And at the end of 7, as Marquise tries to light a flare of hope, Arizona 6 and the Dodgers 3. Don't forget the Dodgers Coca-Cola family pack. 4 reserve level tickets, 4 Dodger dogs, 4 Cokes, and a parking pass for $39. The family pack available at every Sunday and Wednesday home game all season long. So we'll see you Sunday. Kaz Ishii and Miguel Batista. That's a strike to Damian Miller. So Guillermo Mota picking up the pieces for Omar Dahl. Struck out 2 in retiring the side in the 7th. Ground ball to Grassolani. So Miller goes 2 for 4, 1 out. And the batter will be Tony Womack. And who's to say Marquise Grissom hits a 3-run home run, but who's to say just how important the play by Tony Womack was? Remember, there was 1 out and a runner at first. Eric Karros hit that high twisting foul ball and Womack made a great play. And then Jordan doubled and Grissom homered. So this was a big play, and don't lose it in the shuffle here. Wonderful play by Tony Womack. Womack has flied to left, sacrifice, flied to left again, so he's 0 for 2. Off speed, 1 and 2 the count. He really flew open. If Mota ever learns to throw that changeup for strikes along with the velocity, he'll be something. And Womack would agree. So Mota now picks up his 3rd strikeout tonight. 9 D-backs have struck out, but doesn't mean a thing. Only 3 Dodgers have struck out. But it's been all Arizona, and here comes Randy. Right. When the Dodgers come up in the 8th inning in the bottom half, it'll be his Turris, then a batter for Mota and Green. And of course the Dodger bench basically left-handed. But they do have Iram Bocachica and Chad Kruder, but usually the backup catcher is the last guy you're going to use. So Bocachica figures to be coming up to hit for Mota. 1 and 2. Six runs, 10 hits for Arizona. They did the damage with a 5-run fourth. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers. That'll do it for Randy. That's 4 strikeouts for Guillermo Mota in 2 innings. But at the end of 7.5, it's still 6-3 Arizona. Dodger Baseball is brought to you by your Southern California BMW Centers, by Jack in the Box, by Pure MGD, by Southwest Airlines, and by Buick. It's all good. Beautiful night here in Los Angeles. 6-3 in favor of Arizona before the largest crowd of the year. 54,252. A Friday night crowd coming to see Randy Johnson in Arizona and the Dodgers roll all over the stadium. And a chance to pick up a Paul LaDuca bobblehead doll. A very impressive 2 innings turned in by Guillermo Mota, retiring 6 in a row, striking out 4. But Randy Johnson has been holding on with both hands. Gave up 3 in the 7th, but that's the only thing the Dodgers have been able to do against him. So is Turris, Bocachica, and Green coming up. Ball 1. This crowd of 54,252, the largest of the year. Opening day 53,300. And they had another crowd 52,700. But tonight 54,200. That's the topper. 1-0. Right. His tourist tonight 0 for 3. Hit back to the box. Johnson turned it into a force play last time up. And another one up the middle. Great stop by Spivey, but the throw is pulling the first baseman Colburn off the bag, and Mark Grace is now the first baseman, and Grace unable to make the play. So the veteran Mark Grace, who made a splendid play against the Giants to save the game, could not stay on the bag. He just knocked the ball down. Grace made a great play yesterday with a runner, Goodwin, at second and a ground ball to short. Goodwin took off on the throw to first, but Grace, who's been playing so many years, took the return throw and fired it to third base and made a perfect throw to get Tom. And that meant that Barry Bonds came up with the bases empty. 1 ball and no strikes to Iram Boca Chica. So the Dodgers pick up an infield single by his tourist. Great effort by Spivey. 2-0. Of course, Boca Chica now trying to get aboard. Sean Green represents the possible tying run on deck. Down in the bullpen, the left hand of Mike Myers and the right hand of Byung-Hyun Kim. And that's a strike. 2-1. Boy, you want to talk about unorthodox delivery. There's 2 of a kind. One throwing sidearm right-handed, one submarining from the left. 2-1 the count to Iram Boca Chica. Well, with Boca Chica dancing out of the way of that, the crowd figured that was ball 3, but Larry Vanover said no. Right in there. Good pitch. Time there's another beach ball loose out in left field. 2-2 to Boca Chica. Boca Chica hitting .333 coming off the bench, including a pinch hit home run. He has his tourist at first, nobody out. Slider fouled right into the far corner of the Dodger dugout. Haven't seen too many of those sliders, but that had a big break and it came in on the hands hard, and Boca Chica turned with it. 2-2. Six runs, 10 hits for Arizona. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. That makes it ball 3. So a full count to Boca Chica. He has struck out about a third of the time, and of course, coming off the bench cold against Johnson, he is a definite risk to strike out. So we'll see what that means as far as his tourist is concerned. His tourist is not gone, and that's fouled away. So still 3-2 to Iram Boca Chica. When you're up against a great strikeout pitcher and the hitter doesn't play very often, it's pretty hard to put any kind of a play on. So his tourist was not going 3-2. Not going now. And strike 3 called. So the Dodgers have been disagreeing with Larry Vanover several times. And Boca Chica gestured as if to say you missed a couple of pitches. That was too high. But it's going to go in the books as a strikeout. You take a look. Well, to me it's a strike. But I always think of that old strike zone from kneecaps to armpits. But I'm not sure just what the strike zone is anymore anyway. So here's Sean Green. Right. Sean robbed of a hit by Colburn, walked, and reached on an error by Counsell. Whoa, fastball in on the hands. He let him have it at 94. And the count 0-2. Not much Dave Roberts can do with except go over and give Boca Chica a little bit of a pep talk. Dave Hansen might see some action later on. 0-2. One and two to count. Randy Johnson trying to beat the Dodgers 5 straight times, and all of them here at Dodger Stadium to add insult to injury. 1-2. Nice save by Damian Miller. 2-2 the count. Is Turris, who opened up with the infield single at first, held on by Grace. 1 out. 8th inning. 6-3 D-backs. 1 in the first and 5 in the 4th at the expense of Omar Dahl. Fastball line drive caught by Randy. Double play. How do you do? So Randy Johnson saves his own bacon, spearing the line drive for the Dodgers. No runs, a hit, nobody left. And at the end of 8, it remains D-backs 6, Dodgers 3. Well, you could say up to now it's all been Arizona and Randy Johnson. Greg Colburn almost hit a grand slam, hit it off the top of the bullpen gate to chase in 3 with a double. Marquise Grissom, however, got the Dodgers back into the game with a 3-run home run in the 7th. He now has 3 home runs in his last 5 at-bats against Randy Johnson. But Omar Dahl was just not sharp. Omar, in his 6 innings, gave up 6 runs, 10 hits. Then Guillermo Mota pitched 2 fine innings, and now Jesse Orozco, who has been on the DL, comes back. So LaDuca and Orozco putting their heads together. Craig Counsell, Junior Spivey, and Luis Gonzalez. May the 13th, that's a long time ago. His last save was May 7th. We were in Atlanta. Let's see if he can throw strikes. Rebele plays in on the grass at third. Slow curve and a drag bunt to Karras. He'll give it to Jesse just ahead of Counsell's arrival. So Counsell tries to drag for a hit, can't do it, and Junior Spivey coming up, and Orozco will now get himself a test. As we have pointed out a couple of times, Spivey is the left-hander's #1 public enemy, and tonight against Dahl he had 2 hits and a walk. Junior hitting .330 against the league and about .470 against left-handers. 6-3 Diamondbacks, top of the ninth. Bottom of the ninth, LaDuca, Karras, and Jordan up for the Dodgers. 4-1. One ball and no strikes. 1-1. I'll tell you, there are two marvelous athletes when the Dodgers and the D-backs get together. Jesse Orosco of the Dodgers and Mike Morgan of Arizona. Jesse in his 25th season, Morgan in his 24th. 1-1. High pop fly. That'll be Grassolani. Tomorrow in game 2 of the series, Andy Ashby and Brian Anderson, and then Sunday Kaz Ashi will go up against Miguel Batista, and Sunday will be on UPN 13. And a reminder of the Dodger Dugout Show, a chance for you to meet Curt Schilling and Randy Johnson, and also a chance to ask the manager. So we have 2 down here in the ninth. The last base hit for Arizona is back in the 4th inning, believe it or not, but they're leading 6-3. So Gonzalez struck out 3 times tonight. He has 1 hit. Ball 1. To repeat, when the Dodgers come up in the ninth, LaDuca, Karras, and Jordan. But all the damage was done in the 4th inning by Arizona. In that inning, they had 6 singles for 5 runs. In the 4th inning, Finley singled to left, Miller singled to right, Womack sacrificed, Johnson struck out, but Counsell singled in 2 runs, Spivey single, Gonzalez an infield single, and then Colburn doubled home 3, and that was that. Breaking ball, ball 3. Up north with Colorado leading the Giants 6-0. Jason Jennings of Colorado has a no-hitter through 6 innings. 3-0 to Gonzo. Ball 4. So Mark Grace will be coming up with a runner at first.
First baseman number 17, Mark
Orosco
Grace.
having trouble with his spikes. I think he lost traction, so he was kind of sliding a little bit. He's okay. So another veteran, 38-year-old Mark Grace climbs in. Grace batting .248, 4 home runs, 24 runs batted in. Grace 2 for 5 in the past against Orosco. Good curveball. 0-1. Mark's been around long enough to be getting close to 2,400 career hits. 0-1. To repeat, LaDuca, Karras, and Jordan, with Grissom due up 4th when the Dodgers bat in the 9th. Roundhouse curveball lifted to Jordan. So the Dodger bullpen, Mota and Orosco, completely shutting down the D-backs, but it's a case of whether the horse has already gone down the road. 6-3 D-backs, bottom of the 9th. A reminder, stay tuned after the game for highlights of all of today's sports action. we'll present the Southern California Sports Report, a complete Dodger coverage, and a whole lot more. The Southern California Sports Report coming up right after the game. 6-3 Arizona. Byung-Hyun Kim comes out of the bullpen to try and hold on to this one for Randy Johnson. Kim is 2-0, an earned run average of 1.7, and the opposition is hitting 189 against him. He's a remarkable young pitcher, and Bob Brenly isn't afraid to bring him in before the 9th inning. That's a strike to LaDuca. Kim has actually been asked to get 7 outs. Ground ball to the hole. Great stop by Spivey to get him. Junior Spivey is everywhere. Everything he does has been magnificent. Swinging the bat, charging the slow roller, diving at balls left and right. He has been something special. And in the number 2 slot, he's had 2 singles, a walk, and a stolen base. So a fine play by Junior, and LaDuca robbed of a hit, and Eric Karros the batter. Breaking ball, strike. What Kim does that is unusual is the velocity on that sidearm, almost submarine fastball. He gets it over 90. He's the only pitcher with that kind of a delivery I think I've ever seen throw that hard. 0-2. So Byung-Hyun Kim, who meant so much last year and then went through so much during the World Series, remember, and the playoff games. The home run bit him so often. Right. So Eric Karros totally tied up. Down he goes. And the Dodgers are down to their last strike. And the batter, Brian Jordan. The crowd is reacting. The Lakers beat Sacramento 105-102. Actually, there's 1 second left in the game. So they're going to go back to Sacramento. Sure. Brian Jordan grounded to short, hit into a double play, flied to left. All right. So Byung-Hyun Kim, all business. Got LaDuca, strikes out Karros, and now trying to finish off Jordan. Dodger pitching was great after the 4th inning, but it was too late. Base hit to left field for Jordan.
Center fielder, number 9.
Marquise Grissom has grounded to third, popped up, and then got a high fastball. It reminded us of one of the pitches he got over in Arizona. In Arizona, he hit the ball into the right field stands just to the right of the pool. Tonight, a similar pitch up and away, and he hit it in the right field seats inside the right field foul pole. Ball 1. Crowd reacting to the Laker win, 106-102. So I don't think too many surprised. They go to Sacramento to finish it off up there. 1 ball and 1 strike to Marquise Grissom. 6-3 Arizona, 9th inning. Ball 2. The body language on Kim on that pitch, and that fastball was 91, by the way. It's amazing he can throw that hard. Kim is in his 25th game. Fastball fouled out of play. Last year, Byung-Hyun Kim was in 78 games and worked 98 innings. Breaking ball hit in the air to right field. Jose Guillen is there. So the Diamondbacks win game 1. They have beaten the Dodgers 3 out of 4. 6 runs, 10 hits, and 2 errors for Arizona. 3 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Dodgers. The player of the game, Randy Johnson, who thoroughly shut the Dodgers down for 6. And while he was out there, why, the D-backs broke the game open with 5 runs in the 4th inning. A reminder tomorrow, Andy Ashby and Brian Anderson. Once again, the final score, Arizona 6, Dodgers 3. For Ross Porter and Rick Monday, this is Vin Scully saying so long from Dodger Stadium. Now, for Dodger postgame coverage and all the day's local sports news, let's go to the Southern California Sports Report. Good night, everybody.